right. Or as we say in Hawaii, all right. But I know we got one Hawaiian. Anybody else from Hawaii in here? No? Hey, thanks a lot for having us. I know some of you come and thank us for coming, but we truly, look at this as a privilege to be here with you good people. And I genuinely love Texans. I love the old-fashioned Americans, that, I really do, where, the guys who tell their dads, I love you, Dad, and, stuff I never saw before. And, it's just the coolest thing, I think. And you can love it or get the heck out of here.
Get called sir and ma'am. That's the only time I'll accept ma'am in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Or from Texans.
We get to the hotel today and Chris is saying, I'm surprised Marcus didn't take you to a gun store or something. But anyway, it's just so different, though. We grew up in Hawaii, and this was my dream, though, not to talk to people really, but to do stuff. I had what most people call a good job, and I didn't hate work. I just wanted something else, and I'm guessing like a lot of you, I didn't really know what something else was. I just knew it wasn't sitting in that office, and so I remember for like Chris and I again, other than we grew up in Hawaii, I don't think we were too much differently than most of you. I grew up in a house where my mom I think my mom's main dream was that her 5 kids go to college, right? How many of you got kids in here? Some of you got kids? A lot of you got kids. So you understand, if you got kids, typically we always want it better for our kids than we had it, right? Whatever that might mean. And so for my parents, that meant the higher education, because they didn't have that opportunity for the higher education. Then they thought that's what better was. So I'm pretty sure my mom's main dream was that her 5 kids, graduate from college. And I was the 5th of 5. And I'm pretty sure I'm the one that made her the most worried about that dream. I was the one sitting, in the back of the room thinking, what do we got to know this for, And ironically, now I get invited to go speak in colleges, just because of some of the success we created in this business. And I say ironically because I wasn't your best student when I was there. And I love asking college kids, what are you doing here? And they always got this blank face like, what are you talking about? I mean, what are you doing here? And I know there's a lot of exceptions in this room, like maybe, well, I don't think Frank, but there's a lot of exceptions in this room. But personally, I'm embarrassed to say this, and I know this doesn't apply to some of you, but at least in my world, I don't remember one friend who, honest to God, went to school to learn. You know what I mean? I don't remember anybody waking up in the morning, what can we learn today? It was like a means to an end, right? And anyway, the goal was to graduate with as little effort as possible. And I'm sorry to you for your educators, but this is just my story, and then we go get this job, and it's the same thing, you try to do it with this, for the most part as little effort as possible, and we get our paycheck, and so I didn't like that though. I didn't want that. I always wanted, like I said, more, and certainly not materialistically more. At least I didn't grow up wanting material junk. But in fact, we call this night Dream Night, right? As we kick off the year, and how many of you guys, this is your first Dream Night? There must be a few of you in here, right? There's quite a few of you. Okay. Well, you guys that are new here, welcome. Congratulations for being here. Nobody forced you to be here. Good job to those of you who got those people here. That's the truth, right? You have to stick your hand. Do you realize that every single one of you in here were at one time an uncomfortable phone call for somebody? Yeah. And how many of you in here appreciate, your upline? How many of you appreciate, the fact that, somebody did, So I just remind you as we get started here tonight that, people are waiting for your call. Yeah, how many people do you think in America, just our country alone, how many people do you think prayed about their finances over the last month or 2 or 3? Right? Or all of them? Yeah. Or how many people even prayed about their marriages and whatever other circumstances, and so not that we personally are it, but I think our organization worldwide, we're the answer. We really are. What we have to offer is certainly not perfect because there's not perfect people, but it's better than anything I've ever heard of, truthfully, in all aspects. And so my main dream come true was this beautiful lady sitting by my side, and Chris and I both started the business as singles, and people ask, was it love at first sight? It was something, but it wasn't.
He's honest.
How many of you single? Are you guys there got to be some singles, right? Quite a few singles. Okay, let me tell you singles, the tip of this, the most important training tip. If you're a girl in here, you show him the plan, and if he ain't interested, neither are you. And for you girls, you guys, same exact thing. You show her the plan, and if she ain't interested, neither are you. And building this as a single, I totally bought into that idea. Yeah, because these singles, just think about it, man. If when you just start dating, you're like on your best behavior, and if they're not supporting you now, get a clue. It's not gonna get better. Good grief, So anyway, the reason I said it was something because I was single and pumping this business, and I knew my wife was going to come, but Chris built this business as a single. That's what certainly opened the door, and I watched her just make good decisions as her upline because I was her upline, and but I really did. I got to, because I was her upline platinum at the time, and I got to see her just making good decisions. I know she was broke and had this credit card debt, yet when it came time to, pay for the functions, she was in with the first batch to pay for the, leadership. And for us, that's a plane ticket, from Hawaii. And so, I just saw that good decision. So then that sort of opened the door that, okay, this is a good one, I think,
I had to make sure.
You can tell them your side of the story, honey.
Well, the truth is, no. But it is a great story for when Scott and I did get together. And that's for our rally, for you guys to get that CD, okay? So it's WW417 CD. Little plug for worldwide.
For you guys that are new, we don't get paid for those, okay?
But like Scott said, congratulations for being here. That is a great decision. For all of you to be here, and the excitement. A lot of you in this room, I think more than half the room is brand new, first time being here, and so that is incredible. A lot of people are asking us or telling us about our Florida crew who, just is exploding down there, on this side of the country, and congratulations, that's all of you guys here, so kudos to you guys. First of all, with this function that is exciting, that's because you guys have Frank and Lynn hosting. And yeah, whoop, whoop. We've grown up in the business with them, known them for a while now, and just the places we get to go, all the different clubs that we are at, we always see them, we always look forward to see them, and I was just teasing him outside. I think I'm the only one who can get away with calling him Franklin, and other than Lynn. But, she always has an incredible serving heart, and truly love you, Lenny. I always look for her. When I see Frank, I'm like, where's Lynn? Where is Lynn? But we do love you too, Frank. Thank you for hosting this incredible function. You set the tone for this, and it's all in you guys, and thank you for that, because Scott and I can have fun up here now. And so we've been traveling with Bobby and Shelley. You guys you're in for a great treat tonight, because you're going to hear Shelley's heart, and it's always so awesome. It comes out through her talk and her eyes. And with Bobby. It's so fun. I can say he's really close up there to Brad Duncan and how he paints the dream and his passion. He is like right up there. So just listen to him, because when he speaks softly, there's something big coming. So he's incredible. You guys are awesome. We're excited to get to Hawaii and spend some sunshine out there. I know it's sunny out here, but we haven't been getting it in Washington a little while. So, cold, sunny. That's not working here. So, no football team this year, huh? Shucks. I wasn't going to mention it, but Seattle is in there, so, Okay. We got some Washington folks here, so, yeah. I'm not alone. But we do, like I said, we do have fun. And in the beginning of the year, you see a lot of the things and the stuff and the fluff that come out. And it's great. It's fun to have all those things. And I'm sure a lot of you, ladies, maybe you might agree with me that you do want the safe cars. It's maybe the big cars, maybe not a Hummer, but maybe an Escalade, or even maybe a little car like a Porsche or a Panamera, or, things like that. We encourage you to go find that dream car or go find that dream house. Go to, I'm not sure if they have it here, open homes, or for our house and in our organization, we dream build all year long, because this guy is awesome. He may not speak it in the dreams, but he shows it, because he orders all these magazines come to our home, Showboat. And he talks about the yachts that we could have, and our boys are thinking, "Wow, that's bigger than our house." Can you imagine? It's like people live on those yachts, and just tens of thousands of square foot homes and acres and things like that, and just whatever they want to dream, want to have, they cut them out and they put them in a dream folder, and encourage them to put it in a poster board, and we get that every year. And since we've stopped, actually, we didn't really stop doing this, but we actually have like folders now, because we have so much of these things that we want and places we want to go to. And, we always find something new. I'm not sure if you heard of the book, 1001 Places to Go Before You. Anyway, I got that book, and I'm some of the places there I haven't even heard of, and the best thing that's on my dream right now is there's this, I think it's like a 60-day tour, $60,000 worldwide trip. And it's a round trip, first class, around the world. And that's going to be awesome. And when you're free, you can just figure out, when do we want to go, right? So hopefully you guys have been doing that since the beginning of the year. And obviously, you'll get all that stuff if you want it. You can have all the money or whatever you need for charity. It's always a good thing. And hopefully you all, I like that. Yes. I love Dawn's accent. She has an accent. And Marcus and Dawn, yes, thank you also. I didn't forget about you guys. I was going to talk about your accent. I love it. I do. And, he was so worried about picking us up from the airport because there was so much traffic. But you know what? It's because you guys are growing. That's why all the traffic is, with the construction and their freeways. Think about it that way. But before I go on and take all the 45 minutes, here's Scotty. Back to Scotty.
But seriously, Davidsons, we love you guys. And if you guys don't know Marcus and Don, those guys are pillars, stalwarts, for the state of Texas through the decades, and that we've got to know each other, and there's been people come and go through the years, and certain friends you keep, but appreciate you guys, man. I remember, wow, being out here. I don't even know if I was married that first time, but I remember playing basketball with these guys and asking them about when Kennedy was shot. We're from Hawaii. It's so, far removed, and all of these guys. And I remember them rushing me out to the grassy knoll and all of that. But anyway, yeah, just a lot of memories built through the years. And for y'all that I knew, I just, I wanted, we call this Dream Night. We do 4 major functions of the year. And I just want to make sure that, we don't lose any of you, because you think this is materialistic or things like that. I think, Texans, there's so much wealth in Texas that, that's probably not a problem here. But But, I grew up, simpler than, a lot of people, and not poor, I wouldn't say, but simple. And so my whole gang of friends, I mean, pretty much everybody, when I got involved with this business, they would say things, well, all these guys are materialistic, to go to the meetings and they only talk about stuff. And I like to share one thing with people, because I remember for a little while when I was new that bothered me, or at least it made me wonder, like, because I remember my friends saying, well, they just talk about a bunch of stuff and they're just materialistic. And I remember thinking, my upline was Wogamot, Duncan. I think, oh, they do have stuff, And I remember at the time, Brad Duncan had just got this new Ferrari Testarossa, and I still remember singling that Ferrari out because, at least from my world, if anything was unnecessary stuff, that was it. And then I remember learning that Ferrari was about 1.5 weeks income for Brad. And that really helped me put things in perspective, where I remember, figuring it out, like, what if we only could spend 1.5 weeks income on our car? Oh, that's a scary thought, huh? Some of you would have a bus pass, and so, right? So I just, but really, though I throw in a humor, it was really enlightening to me to come to the revelation that you can't just look at people with stuff and judge that as materialistic, because it's all relative. If you make $60,000 a year and buy a $100,000 car, I agree, that's stupid. But if you make $60,000 a week and buy a $100,000 car, that's no biggie, right? And so obviously you want to increase your income, but far, so anyway, we start the year off with this dream night to remind you, that everything starts with a dream. As corny as that might sound to some people, everything of any substance started in some man or woman's mind. This building, started in somebody's mind. The clothes you got on, your house you live in, the car you drive, everything started in somebody's mind. And I just come to learn that in your life and with your life, you will either build you will either build your dream or somebody will hire you to build theirs. Help them build theirs. Because you will work. You will work towards somebody's aspirations. And if it ain't your business, it ain't your dream, basically. You're just a part of somebody else's. And so that's what I love about this organization, is that we give people a chance to own something, And it's not, like I was willing to work hard, but you can work hard for a limited amount of time. And I remember, though, going through the frustrations. None of my friends would come to a meeting, and again, I was single, so I wasn't dating. I remember for a short time I was on the speaking circuit as a single, and I would always get the guys. I guess for a short period of time I was like the single, I don't know if you call it a hero, but I was a single guy, in worldwide circuits. So all the single guys would come up and ask me. And I remember the most common question I would get is, how did you balance dating? And I remember the first time getting that question, like, I didn't. Now, it's not that I didn't think about it. I thought about it constantly. I just, but like I shared with you all, I wasn't going to chase a girl that wasn't going to build this business, though. And then, we get in this business and they tell you, get a bigger dream. And I still remember thinking, well, where do you get one of those? Like get a bigger dream, like how many of you want to be able to quit work? How many of you in here like to be able to walk away from your job? All right? You sure? So I come to believe that that's a big enough dream. If you want to be financially independent, free, that's a big enough dream. So for every one of you that just raised your hand, the challenge is not to get a bigger dream. Your challenge is to want it so bad that you will make it happen. It's the emotional intensity of that dream. It has to be better than a nice thought. it has to be emotional. I call it the EI, the emotional intensity. And as I look back in retrospect, man, I wanted to be free so bad, not because I hated work, but I hated the thought of how short life is, and I spent it sitting in this stupid office, going through the motions, and I just wanted, like I said, more, and I definitely didn't mean materialistically. I wanted this. I wanted to go places, I wanted to have friends around the country. Marcus was always bugging me. Come on, man, you got to come in and we'll go bass fishing, and we were in the Bahamas a couple of weeks ago, and some of the guys want to go snorkeling, and I'm like, snorkeling, it's like I grew up spearfishing, like snorkeling is like pointless, like literally, and it's yeah. I mean, it's like duck geese hunters going for a walk around the pond, and I'm like, I'm like, what the heck is that about, and anyway, but yeah, if I'm gonna go to the water, fish will die, yeah. Anyway, we got time. I'll tell you a fish story, but the blessings, of focused in, you reprioritize. That's been my motto for the last year or so. To reprioritize it, where we need to, every one of us need to reprioritize something. Now, not if you're brand new, but I take it back, especially if you're brand new, maybe. But those of us who have been around the business a while, more than a year or two or three, and obviously none of us are where we'd like to be, including myself. But that means we need to reprioritize something we do in a spare time. What has your calendar been filled with? What has your mind been filled with? And you're going to fill it, with this concept of being free. And I look back personally, and I think the one thing God, blessed me with at a relatively young age was the understanding of how short, life is, and how fast time flies. And I remember making 20 thinking, I'll never be a teenager again, but the big birthday to me was making 25 thinking, I'm a quarter of a century. Like I still remember sitting at my desk thinking, what happened? How many of you are around 25 in here? There got to be some of you, right? Don't you guys feel like the last 70 years or so since high school kind of flew by? Yeah, and I remember thinking, I'm a quarter of a century, and I love basketball, so I remember likening it to a basketball game thinking, man, if I live till 100, I'm like 1/4 done. And that wasn't funny. And heck, and then statistically, back then they said guys lived to 77 or something, and that'd be more like I'm 1/3 done, and that. And like I said, that was not funny, man. And on my 25th birthday, I decided, if I'm remotely close to being 1/3 done with life, man, I ain't gonna spend another third in this doggone office. And again, it wasn't that I hated work; it was that, and that was very emotional to me to hurry up. Every day we don't, go out and do what we should do, whether make a phone call or whatever it is, show a plan. Every day, that's another week or two or a month or two that you're going to spend at work, and that was not funny, man. I wanted to be free, so bad, and it was just the simple stuff, right? You give up. It's not really that big a price. It's just little reprioritizations, where, for Chris, it was, I don't know what it was in the beginning, her. Anyway, it's going to have something to do with friends. Right? You reprioritize.
He didn't want to admit that I went partying. So that's why that song in the beginning here, I could relate, but you do have to reprioritize, and that's his word for the year and that's what we just need to do is change and figure out what do we really want from this business, that it can get and set from our goals that we have set, which is the beginning of the year. We come back to how you did last year. A lot of you had a banner year maybe, and some of you maybe not. And so now we come to the beginning of this year with Dream Nights. And so my word this year was being positive. And, in Scripture it says it all over the good book of, you're snared by the words of your mouth. And so whatever's coming out of your mouth is what we should be talking about this year. And so when you prioritize what's going to be up there, your freedom, or is it your job? And so I know we all have to have some of that sometimes to, finance whatever we need to. But in the meantime, what are you thinking about? I had this Kate communicate the other day from a gal who wakes up every morning, and she didn't even realize she was doing this. She would always wake up saying, I hate my life. She's in the business. But then she finally realized, she was thinking, I need to change those words in order to have a better life. And I think that kind of hit me for my talks, is that's exactly right. And we've always tried to do that, especially with our kids, speak positive into them, bless them, speak blessings over them and things like that. But sometimes we say things that we thought, did I really say that? And so I think we just need to prioritize what we say. So when we say what we want, then we'll get it. And maybe at 24 too, we can be more aware. Is that English? Is that proper English? Be more aware of, what comes out of our mouth and speak positive, because, I know a lot of you have kids in here. If you hear something coming out of their mouth that's not positive, you're on them, right? So, but what about you? Is somebody on you? If not, then, you should be on you, because whatever it goes out of your mouth and into your ears, you're going to keep hearing it over and over. So if you keep saying you're going to be a diamond, you're going to be a diamond, you will be. And, it's going to take work. It's not just saying it. It does take work and effort, because that's why it's worth it. Because you work at it, and it takes effort, and you work together, with either your spouse or your upline. So, that's why we make this year the banner year.
Yeah, it's going to be the epic year, the best year of your life, because I'll tell you, first of all, because you say so. Chris is talking about, that you say so, man, and yeah, it's really important. Watch the way you talk and what comes out of your mouth. What you've been doing, don't say nothing, or same old. Like, stop it, and you gotta watch that. That's not inspiring to others, first of all. Living the dream. I love when guys say that. You ever seen guys say, "What you been up to? Living the dream." That always cracks me up. Watching a guy in the coveralls, or whatever. But anyway, living the dream. But anyway, at least he got a good attitude. But yeah, so whatever it is, though, like Chris is talking about, maybe it's our attitude and stuff that needs a reprioritizing. But the great news is we can do it, and we got an organization and a vehicle to do it, though. And regardless of how long you've been in the business, I want to encourage you to understand that the next 6 months, 12 months have nothing to do with the last 12 years. Nothing. Yeah, and at any point, we got this exploding group in Florida now, and, Chris is talking about, and they had their dream night last night, and he was the host, and he had over 200-something people there himself. But yeah, but really, this guy that's ahead of that, he's been in over 10 years now, though. And in his own words, he talks about how he took about 8 years to grow up. He was a dope-smoking, motorcycle-riding 19-year-old, and literally sponsored by his girlfriend at the time, and took about 8 years to kind of grow up and mature, and his upline became basically his father figure in his life, and then, and in 2 years it explodes. So it's like that Chinese bamboo tree thing that you guys, heard that analogy of how, I don't remember the numbers, but you got to water this tree for whatever amount of years, and then the 4th or 5th year, then it explodes up. So the question people ask is, did it grow in 5 years, or did it grow in, in this 90 days, like it shoots up? And really, it's 5 years. It's all the nourishing. It's the growth. And that's what our organization is. I remember when I was brand new, Brad used to tell me, when you think like a $250,000 a year guy, you will become one. Now, I know some of you already make a lot more, but that was way far of a dream for me where I was at. When you think like $250,000, so you can throw in whatever dollar amount. When you think like $1 million a year guy, you will become one. So again, with my logical brain, I look at it as I got to grow into that version of me that thinks like $1 million a year guy. Whatever that is, whatever that might mean. Because obviously when you're new, what does that mean? We don't know. So you got to get around people and start thinking differently and take some coaching. Get your upline mentor, who hopefully makes a lot more than you, and learn how to, start. Just understand this. This applies to every one of us. Your brain got you where you are. How's it going? And again, that's not a put down. I'm talking to myself just as much as anybody else. And so that's why we got this gift of mentorship. But I just want to get you to understand it's so worth it. The blessings of focusing in for a couple years. Frank said we knew each other for all this long. It makes me sound old now. For reprioritizing my little hobbies and stuff for a little while. And then I got to be free. I haven't had a job, like since 1991. In less than a year, I was a full-time computer programmer, systems analyst, in the computer world. And in less than a year, I was making more in this business than my full-time job. And guys would always say, well, I don't want to work as hard as you do. And, because I would go out and do meetings at night. And I think, man, I don't want to work as long as you're gonna, And then when I quit work a few months later, then I was lucky. And all I could think, well, yeah, lucky I didn't listen to you, right? And lucky I didn't have your brain, But then the blessings, especially as Chris and I, got married and things and had the kids. And to me, the blessing is the kids, right, honey? Don't you think?
Yeah, well, just a lot of people ask us, what do we do? Since Scott and I are free, our kids have the rut. And we have 4 incredible boys, have you seen on the video? We have an 18-year-old who's just gone to college. It's his second semester as a freshman. And, we talk about building this business because we have Brad and Julie Duncan, who are an incredible example with their kids and the legacy that they're building, in their family, where their kids are building this business. And that's Scott and I, that's our dream, to have our kids build a business. And their attitudes are awesome. Because our 18-year-old, Trent, he's in college, and, he wants to go to college for the college experience. Yeah, $40,000 experience there, and that's per year. So we are like, okay, you can have that experience, we'll see what you do. But he wants to go into business management, thinking that he's going to build this business. So he's networking, right? He's networking right now. So we have a 16-year-old also, and he wants to build this business, and he's thinking, why do I have to go to college? He's doing all this stuff and busy, and he texted me one day, and he just said, I'm going to be your, what did he say? Like he was going to be our first downline diamond, in our family. So
I didn't even tell you this, honey, but we went to a Portland Trailblazer game a few nights ago, and my boy, his 16-year-old, she's talking about, she's looking at me like, this is the arena where you guys speak in, yeah?
That was a Rose Garden at FEDs that we speak in.
And I could see his mind going like, wow.
Yeah, because we kind of had nosebleed seats, but you know how huge that thing is. It's pretty awesome. So, and you guys know, because you guys will be speaking there too. But continue on, we have Micah, our 12-year-old, and he's like, school? Why do I have to go to school? But he's a good kid. He's a 4.0 student, and he just rather build this business. And he's like, why can't I just be like Uncle Brad? And then we have our 10-year-old Mark, who is like the puppy that follows Uncle Brad around. He just loves him because Brad plays, and that's all what Mark wants to do is play. And you should see him with this guy at home. A lot of people, we go to Disney World and Disneyland a lot. And so they'll ask us, oh, so you're going to go to the happiest place on earth? And we're like, no, the happiest place on earth is our home. Disneyland is the second happiest place on earth. But it's awesome. And to have that freedom and that time. And, like I said, our boys have the rut. And you should see this guy at 3:16, 3:17, when you can hear the bus passing our house, he's like, where are our boys? Because he's just waiting for them. It's so awesome, and that's what we do, is just have fun all day. Build the business at night, and they're sleeping, but it's great to touch and share more lives, because that's our dream. Is for me, it's to have more mommies be free, and because my life is incredible, and I'm so grateful for it, and I just want to help others do that, and I'm thankful for Scott.
Sometimes I wouldn't wait for the school to finish. I would just go down to the elementary school and go to the front. I'm going to take Micah Harimoto out, and the lady behind the desk be, oh, is he okay? Oh, yeah. And then she would turn around and get the book right to sign him out, and, you got doctor's appointment? No. And she said she would give me the book. Well, you got to write a reason, yeah? And I said, well, Daddy wants to play. And I'm sorry if you're a teacher, but I think, what the heck is a third grader going to miss today? And truthfully, I think the teachers would agree, But you know what I really come to believe? How many of you how many of us would have loved our dad to come pull us out of school to go play, right? And chances are none of your dads did that, but they didn't really have that opportunity for the most part, whatever the situation was. But you do. Some of you guys, your kids are grown already, so it's going to be grandkids then, I'm not sure about pulling them out of school, but that would be cool, right? Don't tell Mom, but that would be the coolest grandpa, right? To come pull their kids out of school and I don't know, man. I just got an idea there, a new dream. But to me, I wanted to travel, so it was about being free, and people asking, "What do you do all day when you don't have a job?" And man, I think I don't even know how to answer that, man. What the heck are you talking about? I chase my wife around the house. Once in a while, she lets me catch her, or man, I mean, every day's an option. It really is. But to me, I always wanted to travel, and one of the big things before that, or including that traveling, was we got to spoil our parents, while they were alive, and to not only take them on countless trips, but to we got to take her parents on an Alaskan cruise, and this was at a bad time when her mom was had a bout with cancer. And then, but we get to give them cars, and, we gave her parents a Cadillac, and my parents, a couple Mercedes, and they had a Jaguar when Marcus and Don drive up and down. I think, like, oh, nice. And that was the last car my parents had, their '02 X-Type Jaguar, and, to get to just spoil them, for that chapter of their life, and then to get to travel and play and do stuff, I remember when Chris and I were dating, I cut out a picture of an advertisement of Puerto Rico, and I said, we're going to go there, and now we've been there several times, and we're going to get to go to Jamaica in a couple weeks or a week and a half, and, it's all a dream, but how many of you want to go to Peter Island, right? If you're brand new, you don't know. When you go Diamond, you get these all-expense-paid trips to the Virgin Islands, it's a private island, the British Virgin Islands called Peter Island, and that's the kind of stuff we want to do with you guys. Go to diamond clubs, and every year a different resort, but Peter Island, is awesome. It's not like the beach here. It's totally different. And we had the opportunity to go out there with my buddy Frank several years ago. But I'll tell you guys this one story. So we're out in Peter Island. Peter Island is awesome. You go out there with a corporate representative, that's like a host. They carry a clipboard, and the first night you go through all the activities, and I remember that first year, like, man, I'm going, Brad Duncan would always talk about scuba diving Peter Island, and I grew up in the water, but not scuba diving. So literally, my first year diving, I got certified just to go go scuba diving, because I'm going diving with Brad Duncan, and I remember the first night you gather in that little, crow's nest, a nice air-conditioned villa, and the corporate guy with the clipboard is like going through all, okay, who wants a massage, and they literally bring people in from another island to give you a massage and stuff like that. It's the ultimate pampering. You got 2 private butlers for the whole week. And Sandy Ewan wanted her hair braided. They brought a lady in to braid her hair from another island, and through the years we've been there, we've been on fishing trips and things. But I remember here, he said, "Okay, how many of you interested in scuba diving?" And I'm like, and Brad was sitting next to me talking to somebody. I'm like, Brad, Brad. And he was talking. He turns around. What? I said, scuba diving. He goes, "Oh no, I don't want to do that." I remember looking at it. You lie. You said you were going. I gotta take this thing home, man. And so I'm figuring this out. Like, how the heck big is that thing? It's about 20 feet away, and I'm looking at this like, I'm measuring that. Oh my God, that thing is huge. Okay. Now, and most of you probably don't know lobsters, but you get a 2-3 pound lobster. If you grab that body, they cup their tail is how they swim. And even a 3 pound lobster, if you grab it, it goes like this. And underneath the water, it's hard to contain it, And so I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, if I take off the tank, then I could. And I must have been figuring this out for a while because the whole class went off, and the teacher comes back, and I remember him tapping on my tank, like tang, 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 and I look up at him, and he gives me one of these, let's go, and I'm like, oh man, and so we get it back up on a boat, and I'm like, Frank, you see that? You see that lobster? He's like, yeah, that was big. I said, Frank, we need to take it, man, and. Well, I'm like, who better than the Navy SEAL, right? Shoot, whatever I can't do, he can definitely do, And so, we need to take it, and Frank. And so I since learned that back in his Navy days, he was, how do I put it, maybe push the envelope on mischievous and things, And so now he's Mr. By the Book, And he's like, oh no, we can't do that. Like Frank, and is this my friend here? And I go up to the teacher. I ask the teacher guy, how big was that lobster, that big one? There were 2 of them. How big was the big one, do you think? And you know what he told me? Oh, about 26 pounds. I go back, Frank, like 26 pounds. 26 pounds. Frank, they'll let us take the boat. We know how to get here, man. We just follow the buoy, And he's like, no, we can't do that, And I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, the long story short is Mega Lobster still lives. So I need somebody to come to Peter Island and help me go get it. All right? Thanks a lot, you guys.